All right, so in exactly the bottom of the hour, it is now. We have jumped straight into the second half of the KNR Breakfast. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you wherever it is that you are tuning in from this morning. Truly, we are hoping that you're having a fantastic Friday morning. Now, for me, I already put it out there. I said Fridays are spiritual. And Pastor Maphinda is in the building. Good morning, Dada.
Well, good morning to every one of you, the viewers, the listeners, and your good selves. Good morning. I hope you had a great week.
We had a great week, and every single week has its own struggles, has its own lessons, and I've been taking the lessons like a champion.
And I wonder whether is it struggles or the way each week decides to be.
So you're wondering if it's struggles or it's the way it's supposed to be?
You'll find that a struggle is more about the way you perceive a particular situation than what a situation is.
Sure.
So it's always very
way to look at it.
Yeah, it's always because we could be faced with the same thing, but that's what is a struggle to you could be normal to another person.
Wow.
So I always say, you decide what the situation should be. The gravity of the situation does not depend on the situation, but in your mindset.
Yes.
Your attitude.
Yes.
Your worldview.
That's true.
So you are a determinant of how situations should be.
Yes.
That's very important. And that's the secret of life.
Yes.
Life does not depend on the circumstances.
Yeah.
Life depends on the final call you make about circumstances.
Wow.
That's the essence of life.
Yes.
So that's why even medical doctors, they will say when they've diagnosed that we've got this kind of sickness,
sure,
they will say, but if you have a will to live, you can pull through.
Yes.
Now,
yes,
they've diagnosed that, look, this is an incurable disease. Given the medical reports, your days to live are numbered.
Yes.
But they will always say, your will can exceed the scientific discovery about your condition. So never allow situations to have a final say over your life. Situations have no life, but they challenge life.
I'm telling you, Pastor Maphinda has already started.
Topic.
I don't know of a day or a situation or a circumstance where Pastor Maphinda will say something and it's not profound. I don't know. I don't think there is an instance like that in this life, Dada. We appreciate you so much, and we thank you that you are here with us, Namhlanje. We're talking about communication within relationships. And as usual, I just want to go back to the Word of God.
Sure.
I want to be there, I want to stay there, and I want us to take it from there.
Yeah.
It's a couple of scriptures this morning, hey?
Sure.
These ones rather are to highlight the communication between us and God.
Yes.
And how that strengthens our relationship between us and Him. So I'll go to first to Matthew chapter 18, verse 19.
Okay.
It says, again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth about anything that they may ask, it shall be done for them by my Father who is in heaven. In Matthew 21, verse 22, it says, and whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive it.
Yes.
In Mark 11, chapter 24, it says, therefore I tell you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they will be granted to you. In John 14, 13, it says, and whatever you ask in my name, this I will do, so that my Father may be glorified, so that the Father, rather, may be glorified in the Son. The key theme for me I took from these scriptures was the asking.
Yeah, and that was introduced by Christ in his longest sermon,
Yes.
which occupies 3 chapters,
Yes.
Matthew 5, Matthew 6, Matthew 7.
Yes.
And the asking part is on Matthew chapter 6, verse 7 and 8.
Sure.
In Luke chapter 11, verse number 9.
Sure.
But I unfunyuka.
Shares.
Yes.
The fire. Yeah, the fire.
Yes. To give the context.
Yes.
But let's simplify terms.
Sure.
Communication.
Yes.
Because from the beginning, everything that we see, everything that exists,
sure,
is a product of communication.
Yes.
The Bible says God said, let there be.
Yes.
Right from the beginning.
Yes.
Let us make man.
Yes.
It is not good for a man to be alone. Even the reception, the speech during the reception of Eve.
Yeah.
And the speaker there was Adam in the Garden of Eden.
Sure.
In Genesis chapter number 2.
Yes.
Verse 21. He spoke. Now this is the bone of my bones, the flesh of my flesh. So communication has always been there.
Yes.
So we could therefore define communication as both a verbal and non-verbal way in which a person expresses his thoughts or her thoughts around a particular subject matter.
Got it.
To another person. Now, that is important for us to foreground the rest of the conversation.
Yes.
In communication, it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal.
Yes.
You can use a sign language or a body language. But again, you are expressing your thoughts, your wishes, your ideas.
Yes.
Regardless of the form they take.
So.
To another person around a subject matter.
Yes.
So in other words, communication is subject matter centered.
Yes.
There is a subject matter. There is a matter you want to bring across.
Yes.
To another person.
Yes.
But not only to another person, you can have a conversation with yourself. That's still communication.
Yes.
Remember the prodigal son. He was with pigs, no other person. In Luke chapter 15.
Yes.
He communicated with himself. So you can both be a source but also a respondent.
Sure.
It is important to have time with yourself.
Yes.
So that again is important. For an example,
sure.
When people contemplate suicide, many at times they are with themselves, nobody else. They have that conversation that given the way the situation is, let me take my life.
Yeah.
And they do that. Nobody commits suicide without having had an engagement with himself or herself.
That's true. Yeah.
So communication, therefore, can be from within or with another person.
Got it.
But what is key about communication, and this is very important.
Sure.
Number one is the context. Communication is context bound.
Sure.
Who are you and with whom are you having a conversation with? Because there is a siblings conversation.
Yes.
That's a context. There is a parent-child. There is spouse communication.
Yes.
That's a context.
Yes.
So
yes.
It is very important. That's why when a child is communicating with the parent would say, have you forgotten who you're talking to?
Yes.
Because now the parent realizes, sometimes a child would say, Dad, Mom, do you know who you are talking to? Because the child realizes that Mom's expression is out of context.
Out of context.
I am the child.
Yes.
So therefore, the conversation should not overlook the relationship.
Yes.
Linked to the context is power dynamics.
So, power dynamics.
Power dynamics.
Yes.
In communication, power is at play.
Yes.
In a very subtle way. And if you overlook power dynamics, you will never manage conversation. Conversation, if power dynamics are overlooked, end up being argument, being fights. Whilst in our conversation, we end up arguing, we end up fighting, it ends up in the form of violence.
Yes.
It simply means we did not pay enough attention to the power dynamics.
Yes, of the relationship.
Yes. So you can't rule out power dynamics. Now, someone would always, when expressing himself, would always push the agenda of power more than the subject.
Sure. Preach, sir, preach. Yeah. Yes.
Now, that is a very, communication. That's why in this book, this is my first chapter.
Communication.
Yeah.
Sustainable marriage.
Yeah. Building a marriage that can last.
Yes.
So first chapter, I dedicated the whole chapter on communication in this book.
Wow.
Now, it's power dynamics.
Yes.
So and if we underrate the importance of power dynamics, we lose it all.
So
people end up fighting. And you have to decide whether you want your authority to override the merit of the subject, or you want the subject to persuade and convince the next person.
Understood.
There are people who pay less attention to the significance of the subject matter and rely on the authority they will exercise or impose
over the next person.
Got it. Yeah.
Very, very. It's even regardless of the context, be it parent-child. When a child is saying, Mommy or Dad, this does not make sense.
Sure.
Then a parent would also now it's switching over to authority now.
Yes.
Than the sense. Even in marriage,
Warm up.
Yeah.
And then first usakhangela inhloko kulento ayithethayo ayikabikho kodwa yena
seyigqibile.
So uswitch over to authority.
Yes.
And then the person will always say kanti ngubani inhloko, who is the man of the house.
And that's not the point.
And that's not the point.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to establish facts.
Yes.
What exactly are you trying to say?
Exactly.
So there are power dynamics.
Okay.
Also, included in power dynamics is personalities.
Personalities. A big one.
Yes.
A big one, Pastor Maphinda.
Yes.
I've seen these personalities within the context of relationships where the other person is a whole lot stronger than the other one. And then because I don't have the kind of personality that you have, and I'm more meek and more subtle, then my point is not carried across.
Yes.
Because I'm not as audible or as projective.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Now, very important, personalities, they play a major role.
Sure.
And all of this, they then tend to make the subject matter less significant. We begin to deal with each other than the matter at hand.
Itself, yes.
Yeah. So that's why then I said there's a context, number one, but within the context, there's power dynamics.
Yes.
The authority is at play. Within power dynamics, the issue of personalities, they are there. But above all, in communication, there is an unannounced, predetermined outcome.
For both parties.
The source, what you convey, you don't convey being ready to receive whatever feedback. There is already a particular feedback you expect.
A huge one. Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. So when a person is raising a question, it does not that mean a person has no answer. There's an expectation. In essence, the person seeks validation of the answer he or she has. When a person says "umupi," it has already registered in his or her mind about "umupi."
Yes.
But wants to confirm whether what he or she has in mind is true. So that's why, for example, when a person says "umupi," and then you say, then I was with so and so in a certain place, then the person says you are telling lies. But the question is, if it simply means you know where I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you are disputing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then if you know, then why did you have to ask?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I would ask Mandy if you
That's
exactly.
correct.
So what's the point of this communication that we're having?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that simply means communication has a predetermined outcome.
So
when I say, why did you come at this time? Send in izizathu.
Yes.
So in other words, you must be careful. The inquiry is not from a blank slate.
So
it is from someone who seeks validation of the answer he or she has. Now, the importance of that is that when you respond, you must even respond to predetermined answers.
Hectic.
Yeah. Don't respond to the question at face value.
Yes.
You must shed more light to the preconceived answers the person already has.
Okay.
About the matter.
Okay.
So go beyond.
Sure.
So that, and that's communication. That's why communication I at face value.
Yes.
There is a lot that is hidden. And it spells out as conversation. People can say, "Atom funemale, atom and deny." Then the person says, "Why ungenamali?" Then the argument starts.
Yes.
But the issue that was you wanted money, and then I said I don't have money. Now you want me to tell you why I do not have money. Is it going to change the fact that I don't have money?
It won't.
It won't.
That is another perspective of it, Pastor Maphinda, a big one at that, because as a person who communicates on a daily basis, it is at most times we receive the question and you immediately want to give it the answer that's at the top of your head, or the answer that is, not understanding that the reason why you ask this question, there has already been a predetermined answer.
Yeah.
So you have to feed to that answer to keep the healthy communication.
So that's why the Bible says, be quick to listen and slow to respond.
Wow.
Now that is important. Remember, there is nothing that you say to me that I may not necessarily know.
Yes.
So that's why immediately you begin, I can interject you and say, Yima. It's because once you start, my mind tells me, but we are happy. So which simply means communication requires maturity, discipline.
Yes.
Maturity and discipline in the sense that I must be able to listen to what you are saying,
Yes.
even if I know that what you are saying is not a true reflection.
Sure.
I must allow you to boldly express yourself on what I already regard as nonsense.
Sure.
So
Got
I
it.
must allow nonsense to prevail.
Yeah.
I must not feel provoked.
Yes.
Now,
Wow.
that requires discipline. That requires maturity.
Discipline.
Yes.
And maturity.
And maturity. Because from your side, this is the best.
Yes.
It's a true reflection of what happened.
Yeah.
But from my anger, this is a misrepresentation of what happened. So the source says this is what has happened.
Yes.
The recipient says this is a falsification exercise.
Yeah.
Over what has happened.
Yes.
So I must be able then to misrepresent facts.
Yes.
As if it's a true reflection up until you have reached an end. Then number two, then I must acknowledge. That's why I'm a comrade, the city. We welcome this report. We are born, as if they are not going to criticize it. Yeah, so they have been trained.
Yeah.
But we want to welcome this report, Chair. It says a lot. And thereafter they go down to tear the report.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they have welcomed it. You see? So it's important, therefore, Utinawe, don't judge the person. Allow the person to express himself or herself.
Got it.
Without necessarily judging the merits and the demerits of the expression. Yes. Up until the person has exhausted himself or herself.
Yes.
Number two, show appreciation because the person has put effort. Especially, it could be an extrovert. An extrovert is someone who is graced with many words.
Sure.
To say a small thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a simple thing.
Yes, but with many words.
Yes.
And secondly, extroverts have a high volume. Naturally.
Yes.
So they like to say volume high as over. Yes. They speak louder and they speak more.
Yes.
An introvert is still a good communicator. But ungumntu who say a lot in few words.
Yes.
With a soft voice. Now, when it comes to relationship, we'll figure extrovert sithi ingxaki yomyeni wami ingxaki enkosi akathethi. Kanti yena uyi-noise maker, lona kayo-noise maker. Both of them bayathetha. But lo mntu lona uthatha umeasurisha i-communication on the basis of the number of words than the sense that a person has on what he or she communicates.
Pastor Maphinda, on that note, I want to ask, how important is it for us to have an understanding of each other within the relationship for us to be able to communicate effectively? Just a mutual understanding first.
First, we need to understand the context of the relationship.
Sure.
Because there is no size fits all. A communication between a parent-child, between colleagues at work, between a supervisor and a subordinate.
Yes.
Even at church. Now, there's some kind of protocol. There's some kind of hierarchy. you know, and that informs and influences a communication
Dynamic.
dynamics.
Yes.
You know, because in that hierarchy, there is authority.
Yes.
Now that is important. But number two, it is important to understand how this individual is wired.
Sure.
Yes.
Because behind what I hear is a person.
Yes.
So I must understand the source, because what I hear has been processed and sponsored by a particular kind of a person.
Yes.
Now, another person could say the very same thing but differently
Yes.
because of his or her uniqueness.
Yes.
So understand the person, the source of information. Very important. Now, what is it that you must understand about the person? Number one, the personality.
Yes.
What type of a person this one is. Number two, the values. There are people that we regard as pathetic liars.
Sure.
Akaziva.
Sure.
Sencho. Uyatyibilika kwinto engekhoyo.
Zinto zakhe.
Zinto zakhe.
So we call that the pathological liar.
Yeah.
The one who lies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's ayiqonde bana ngoku ephosisa nje kuye yinyani lena aphosisa.
That's
To us,
correct.
believe.
Uyayibhiliva le
Uyayibhiliva
ayithethayo.
le.
That's correct.
Yes.
Now funeka umazi into yoba umfokabani lingcoko.
Sure.
So we put it
So-
in a nice way.
Yes.
So umfokabani
Lingcoko.
lingcoko. Usisi lo lingcoko.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that again simply says you will listen, but always give a benefit of doubt
Sure.
because of the type of a
Of person.
person. So I'm not going to take you seriously because of the type.
Type of person.
What you are saying is serious, but because of the source, I'm not going to take it seriously. Ubani has passed on. That is serious.
Yes.
That is serious. But I will go behind you and confirm. And xa ndiyikhangela ndiyandisazi ntoba kusenokuthi kanti uyaphila. Lo muntu omripote njengoba akasekho.
Kuba
Sure.
elingcoko.
That's correct.
Yes.
Ufike umuntu ka ethetha esithi uyazi ubani ndive ngaye le nto kha ndimbhilive kuba ndimazi uba lingcoko. Uyabona?
Siyamazi kaloku.
Siyamazi.
Siyamazi kaloku
Now,
uba ungonjani.
so that's why then I say understand the personality type.
Yes.
Understand the values, how honest, how truthful is this person. Number three, the motive behind. Remember, the motive informs the way you convey.
Yes.
Because the motive behind is an attempt to make sure that this person commits himself or herself to what you want him or her to commit.
It's a business transaction.
That's correct. Unannounced. Unannounced.
Yeah.
Now, that is important. Judge the motive behind.
Yes.
Ungathi
Yes.
kanti uthiyiselwe. There is
Sure.
a trap there. Yeah, but so that's why, for example, kuni xa sithi umuntu hayi make siphume siyotya out. Yaqwa. At face value akho nto wrong apha. Umuntu xa yospenda ngawe. But kufuneka uchekishe into yoba ingathi lo muntu akakaspendi apha kuye why ezofuna uyospenda ngawe engekaspendi. But xa umjongile ubona uba le nto afuna ukundenzela yile nto bemele uqale
Uqale
ngayo.
kuyo.
Ubone uba ndithiyiselwe apha.
Khona into endingayaziyo.
That's correct. You see, so ubone uba khona into endingayaziyo apha. Why would this person go an extra mile
For me.
for me on things that he or she cannot afford for himself or herself.
Why?
Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Discern the motive behind. What could be the undeclared agenda behind this? So quick communication, you have to read many things.
Sure.
Whilst you are absorbing, but at the same time apply your mind.
Yeah.
Because a lot is at play than what you are hearing from the person.
Pastor Maphinda, everybody, on 0661372723. That is where you can send us voice notes, speaking to Pastor Maphinda, speaking to us as well, and tell us what you think about this topic of today. That's communication within relationships.
Yes.
Lastly, before we just wrap it off, I want to go on to how do we resolve conflict in relationships. We've already communicated it, but it has given us an end where we have ultimately reached an argument and we're not understanding each other. How do we now take a step forward and say, okay, we're resolving this? Where do we start?
First, we need to identify the problem. Where are we losing each other at?
Sure.
That's very important. Is it because I could not express myself in an audible way?
Okay.
Or is it because I am raising matters you are not keen to listen to?
So,
what is the problem, you and me, or the matter?
Okay. So,
Because in communication is the two of us and the subject matter.
yes.
So let's locate the problem. Both of us, I'm the source of the subject matter.
Yes.
You are the respondent. You are the recipient and the respondent to the subject matter.
Yes.
It could be the problem is the way I conveyed the matter, or it could be the timing, or it could be you have raised the matter you are not keen to be engaged on. Let us locate the problem.
The problem.
Where do we differ?
Yes.
In fact, why do we have to fight without knowing what we are fighting about? Why? It's only insane people that fight before knowing, because they lack mental capacity to know beforehand.
Yeah.
Tina.
Yeah.
Kutheni sithatha ubomi be-mental institution ngaphandle kwe-mental institution. So that's the key thing there. Now, very, very important. Where do we differ? What is the sore point here?
So,
That's where, because once we begin to establish or to locate the area of the problem, then we'll be able to resolve the problem. It could be you are raising matters I am not yet ready for.
yes.
You see?
Yeah. A
Now,
trigger.
Yeah. So, or it could be the way you have raised this matter. I feel, one, you have been disrespectful. Number two, I feel that the motive behind is not to get the matter resolved. The motive behind is to establish a ground to achieve something else. So now, ndiyakubambezela.
Yes.
Ngoba lento oyibuzayo oyibuzeli kuba ufuna ukwazi. Ufuna i-confirmation so that athi omnye vuma uba you have committed this offense.
Yes.
Now omnye ayiqonda uba uba ndikhe ndavuma, my marriage is going to come to an end.
Yes.
Okanye umntana athi uba ndikhe ndavuma, I'm going to be severely punished by my parents.
Yes.
So ufumanisa into yoba a child adopts a line of defense out of trying to protect himself or herself from corporal punishment.
Yes.
Yabazali.
Sure.
Because uyibonile ukuthi apha i-admission yam yiyo ezobangela uba ndipanishwe, but i-denial yiyo ezondikhupha kule ngxaki.
Sure.
Now the person has read that. So in other words, how you raise the matter influences how the matter shall be received
Yes.
and responded to.
Yes.
In communication, into eninzi source of the subject matter.
Sure.
The rise and fall of communication is not with the respondent, it's with the source of the subject matter. Think twice before you open your mouth. Put yourself in the shoes of the recipient.
Yes.
And see if you would receive this message the way you want it to be received. People must pay attention to themselves before they raise matters. Goba, a breakdown in communication largely is not with respect to respondents, but it is with respect to the sponsors of the subject matter.
Wow. So this is a deep, very deep introspection.
Yes.
Very deep understanding of the motive itself, even before you take it to other people.
Yes.
Just understand it within yourself.
Yes.
What am I talking about?
That's correct.
Why do I want to talk about it?
Yes.
And am I open to receiving open communication from the respondent as well?
Yes.
We've got comments on Facebook.
Yes.
Samkelo semifinali uthi ndimamele Keith ngesi radio icho sifunda izinto kuyo day by day. Ukunathi manisi uthi greetings team and Pastor Maphinda. Power dynamics within the context. This is powerful and informative. Thanks for the insights. Good morning, Mfura and Team KNR Breakfast. Wow, be quick to learn and slow to answer. And Noli Zima Busela is just sending us our hands, just saying, you know what? This is it. This is it, you guys. You guys are on it. Apinda ati utata wethu kwesisi kosa semonti. Dada, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
We don't know what we'd be doing every single Monday and Friday morning if you weren't here to share with us this knowledge and this wisdom that you have. Quickly, tell us, where can we find your book?
They are there on Amazon, and people can also use this number to order copies. It's 072 3400 606. So that's a WhatsApp number, 072 3400 606.
Sure.
We can send you because of the dollar rand exchange.
Sure.
On Amazon, it's a little bit pricey.
Okay.
You get all of my books there. But you can just Google my books. You'll get the titles and everything there online.
Okay.
But use that number to place an order. We can send you the copy of your book wherever you are. So, and I like feedback.
Yes.
Let's talk.
I love it. I love it, Pastor Maphinda. This is a promise that I'm making to you, ne? When I'm rich, I'm going to buy all your books on Amazon. All of them.
No.
I'm going to buy all of them on Amazon.
When you are rich.
When I'm rich.
Now, let me therefore surprise you. I will bring you all the 4 copies for free to you.
Amen.
So that then those books will make you rich.
Yes.
Because ignorance never makes a person rich.
Yes.
Knowledge is the greatest wealth a person needs than materialistic things.
Thank you.
When you know,
yes.
When you know, you have a master key to possess the things you need.
Wow.
That is very true.
Wow, you guys, I'm getting all 4 books from Pastor Maphinda. I'm so happy.
Yes.
Being an extrovert helps sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
I effectively communicated there.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Pastor
Thank you very
Maphinda.
much.
We love it when you come here. We appreciate your wisdom. We appreciate your love. We appreciate the power that is in you, the power that drives you. We love it so much. And we hope that we see you next week Friday as well.
Yeah.
With a different topic completely. And may
Fine.
the Spirit of God go with you and be with
Sure.
you everywhere you go.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you to all the listeners and viewers. Keep on listening. Keep on joining us whenever we come on Relationship Friday. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Maphinda. Well, that's it, everybody. Pastor Maphinda, only on the KNL Breakfast every single Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. It is exactly 11 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock right now. Please do share with us what it is that you got from the conversation and what it is that you want to share with the KNL Breakfast team as well on 066-137-2723. That's on 066-137-2723. It's Pastor Maphinda, always bringing us exactly what we need every single time without fail. Thank you, sir. Whitney Houston and CeCe Winans on this one says, count on me.